Hey everyone. I guess as everyone's kind of tuning in, you can drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Austin. So we're about to share the screen. But I'll kind of give a little introduction about who I am. I'm Carrie Boswell. I am the digital content marketing specialist at Planoly. So I help manage and write and strategize the editorial content for the month, and then also help write the newsletter that we send out weekly, and then strategize and come up with ideas for what our creator report, which is the kind of inspiration for this panel and creator clubhouse event. And then also our content calendars and any other downloadables that you've seen. So I help kind of come up with that and all of our content that's not social media at Planoly. We also have a discount code, which is 30% off all annual subscriptions. Reza, our brand manager, should be dropping the code in the chat, but it is Creator Clubhouse, all one word, all lowercase. So look out for that, and you'll get 30% off any and all of our annual subscriptions. So I see a few people have kind of dropped where they're from. Hawaii, Chicago, Las Vegas, Montreal. So welcome everyone. That's really exciting. As you kind of all trickle in. So we can go ahead and introduce and meet the speakers that we have today. If we want to start with Isabelle and then kind of go left to right.
Sure, thank you, Carrie. So I'm Isabelle Diaz. I'm a content creator and digital marketing strategist. I started my whole content creator career on Pinterest and with my blog. So that's the main thing that I do today. And I talk about self-care and wellness and how to make things simple so you can be that girl in your everyday life. So that's me. That's what I do. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for today.
I love that. I'm Julia Broom. I'm a social media manager to mostly celebrities and influencers, but I've kind of done it all. I've been in social media for 7 years, so it's been a journey. And now this year, I'm kind of stepping into a creator and entrepreneurial kind of stage. And yeah, so I kind of have done pretty much everything at this point. I'm so excited because I've been using Planoly for ever as a social media manager. So this is kind of full circle to be speaking, and I'm so excited.
What a great intro, ladies. I'm so glad that I can share the stage with you guys. Hi, guys. My name is Selena. I'm a LinkedIn business strategist. I help entrepreneurs to create a follow-worthy personal brand that win them eyeballs, trust, and clients. I'm also really obsessed with Planoly, so I'm really excited to, dive into today's content, talk about 2024, some of the trends and content, and I'm super obsessed to help you to show the world your brilliance in a big way. It's my thing.
Awesome. Thank you guys. We're so excited to have you and to hear your insight and just have a good conversation today. So we're going to dive into our creator report for 2024. And the theme of it is the year of the creator. And so this year it's kind of all about creators reigning supreme. I feel like in the past, platforms and brands have kind of driven the conversation on like what everyone should be doing. But creators and influencers, they all kind of have this, you guys all have this influence. And we're seeing like the shift from traditional marketing into kind of influencer marketing and creator marketing. So you guys know what's best brands and platforms are all kind of leaning on you. So it's kind of your year to kind of like take back social media and do what works for you. So we went ahead and surveyed 200 of our users that kind of identified as creators and influencers and social media managers, and they kind of shared what they had identified in 2023 and what they believed to be kind of making an impact in 2024. So the first trend is virality isn't everything. I feel like for so long, especially when TikTok kind of jumped on the scene, it was all about like going viral and making viral trends. But this year, we kind of surveyed a lot of our users, and 56% of them said, going viral isn't my top priority. A lot of it is, creating authentic content that's unique to them and their niche. So kind of to summarize everything is like going viral shouldn't also be confused with being on trend. It's important to be on trend. It's important to be up to date and like stay up to date with like relevant and relatable pop culture moments. But going viral and creating like that viral piece of content shouldn't be like what you strive for, right? It should be all about creating that authentic content. And so much of those viral trends do come from creating what's authentic to you. I think we saw with Sabrina Bosoon, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, but the Tube Girl, right? She created these like shameless selfie videos and it created this viral effect. And all these people were participating in it. Brands like Mac and Spotify and musical artists kind of were leaning on her, and she was kind of the moment of the summer, but it was really came from her, like in what she wanted to do. So finding a way to like strike that balance in 2024 between like authentic and being relevant and trendy is kind of what you should strive for. So we'll move to the next trend, which is adopt a positive mindset. I think so much brands and creators that practice positivity and use a playful tone are the ones we remember the most. We do remember brands that like maybe have a negative voice in this space, but the ones we always want to come back to and follow are the ones that are positive. I think we see with like influencers and creators like Alix Earle and Hallie Kate, they're really upfront and real, but it's in a friendly and like relatable way. And I think we've seen the internet like really rally behind them. And even with the term comfort creator and stuff like that. So being a positive, voice on the internet is really important. So just adopting that and not being negative. And, as a brand, even you can just comment on people's videos and be funny, but be positive at the same time. So we'll jump into the third trend about embracing AI. I feel like AI, it's become very popular. People are using ChatGPT and AI caption writers. Planoly actually has an AI caption writer right now. But it's been like a hotly contested, topic. Should I or should I not, and we, surveyed our users, and some of them were a little bit shy about using it or don't know where to start. But, it shouldn't be, and some platforms are now like similar to the way a few years ago, like sponsored and ad content had a moment, like creators and influencers had to disclose. Their, platforms are also saying like, oh, they're disclosing whether this was made with AI, but that shouldn't be like a deterrent from using AI. It's a really powerful tool, especially for brainstorming content, especially with having to make so much content with collaborators and brands and stuff like that. It is just like a powerful way to kind of brainstorm with yourself and like use as a jumping off point. So, and also like, I think another important thing to think about is like Gen Z. They're the youngest generation right now that is kind of becoming creators and becoming this consumer group, and they're leaning into AI. So even if you're a little bit scared, you're a little bit hesitant on it, don't be scared. Many people are using it, and it can be the AI predictive capabilities, have the power to like empower brands and also foresee trends and behaviors that we wouldn't know otherwise. So let's head to the fourth trend. Influencer creator, does the title matter? I feel like in the past, influencer has had a negative turn, has been a negative, has had negative connotation, but now we're kind of seeing, especially when we surveyed our users, the same group kind of seeing influencers as this positive term, especially now that brands and creators are using them kind of interchangeably. Especially even if you start as a creator and you become bigger, you're going to start having that influence. So the title doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on it. you're your own influence, and you have a lot to say. So don't get hung up on the term. And then this brings us to, I think, our final trend, the pressure to post, leave it behind. For a while, algorithms and brands and the influx of content have put the pressure on creators and influencers to post, but and it's made it like a little bit less fun for creators. But you know what, like, what works for you, what type of content you like to create. Doesn't have to always be video content. We like surveyed our users, and 81% of them actually said that they like creating static posts and then followed by short form video. So your audience best, what works. So use that, lean into that. There's a reason why TikTok Shop was created. There's a reason why Shopify reported that 69% of the consumers trust influencer recommendations. It's because of what you're interested in. People want to know what you're buying, what you are looking into. They trust that. So lean into that and leverage your influence. So that's kind of the summary of our creator report. And now we can kind of dive into the questions for our creators and our speakers. So I'll start with the first question. How did you get into your role as a content creator, or how did you start your own business?
I can start that one.
Okay.
So I had started my first blog when I was 8 years old. And I think I was just very native to this, and I would take pictures and just digitalize them to the computer so I could go and post them on my blog. It was very early 2000s. But then growing up, I ended up going for marketing in my college degree, and then digital marketing specialization. All the jobs I've ever had were around content creation. And then I'm originally from Brazil. I'm actually in Brazil right now visiting my family. When I moved to the US, because I married my husband, I started doubling on writing blogs and adding, using Pinterest to bring people to the blogs. And things in 2020, like everyone was stuck at home, there was nothing else to do, and things just progressively, very organically on that, brands starting approaching and opportunities started happening. And then the strategy became more intense. So I feel like with a lot of the creators, we were the kids that did plays for our families and had all this very creative thing around it. But that's how it started for me. I'm curious to hear from
I
the
love
other
that because I'm
panelists.
the opposite. I am a creator
Love it.
by heart, but I definitely am like the organized, like I was obsessed with planners. I was obsessed with like collaging all of my binders for school, like highlighting everything. So it definitely makes sense that I became a social media manager. However, that's absolutely not what I thought I was going to be. I kind of fell into this role 7 years ago. I was graduating from UCLA, and I cold DM'd and cold emailed an influencer. And it was at the time where the influencer space was very much the wild, wild west. And there was kind of like no rhyme or reason to what anyone was doing. Brand deals had just kind of like started booming. And I was like, I want to work with this person. I actually heard of her. She's a micro influencer, and she's like a wellness guru on the Skinny Confidential. And I was like, wow, like I loved her. Reached out to her, cold DM'd and cold emailed, got off my very first job as an intern, and it very much like changed my entire career path. I became a social media manager to celebrities and influencers from that point on. And I had really just been so focused on building so many other people's brands and other people's businesses. And I kind of had my hands in everything. I was doing social media management and production and events and influencer management and all the things. And I was always very okay with being a very behind the scenes person. But last year, I kind of started to take to TikTok. And now I am sharing my social media expertise and my experience and doing a little bit of everything on TikTok and Instagram and obviously YouTube, Pinterest, all the things. So that's kind of how I got my start, and that's where I am now.
That is so freaking exciting. Like knowing both of your story, I felt like three of us is completely different. And I think Planoly did such an amazing job to find three of us in different bucket to come to speak to this event. And one of the things I really like both of you saying is like, we're all like going through the flow when it comes to like our life. There's like nothing that we felt like there's an opportunity and then we just like grabbed it, whether it's to, you know, start it with our entrepreneurship route or it's a content creator. So I'm a little bit like in between both of you. And it happened when it's in COVID. Obviously, everyone like sort of hears like, oh my gosh, COVID again. But it is true. I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I will call myself to start my business during COVID. I was in a long distance relationship with my husband for a very long time. And I actually prioritized my career to work for this like amazing company, which is LinkedIn, for many years. And then I realized COVID, where both of us is in different places, we can't travel the world, meet somewhere in the Middle East and like just meet each other and like spend time. And I decided to quit my job and realizing my priorities in life. And I quit my 6-figure job. Everybody think I'm like went mad, completely crazy with LinkedIn. And then I started to basically move back to the US and spend time with my family. And I start making decision, prioritizing myself than anybody else, as well as like what success really means to me. And I started to monetize my skills. And I was wondering, what should I do and how can I make a living? And I start teaching all things LinkedIn, starting with a blog like Isabelle, and start creating content on LinkedIn. And then I start first signing my very first clients from my old clients saying, hey, I see what you do. I want to learn about LinkedIn. Let's go. And I signed my first contract. And that's how the In Academy, my little company, is born.
Cool. That's so interesting, you know, to hear you guys' kind of stories and how you guys kind of started out and now gotten to where you are now. So you kind of answered this a little bit within the first question, but what do you guys consider yourself, your title, like creator, influencer, entrepreneur? And then more specifically, what is like the niche of your content creation? It doesn't have to be a super long answer either, but just a little bit more clarity on that.
Isabelle, I don't know if you want to go first to keep up with that.
You can go. Yeah, we can do it. And then this way we kind of, you know, that's great. Thank you, Julia, for creating the process. I love that. I feel like every creator is an entrepreneur one way or another, because you are your brand, you are your company, you are signing contracts. So even if you like will call yourself an influencer or a creator, you are an entrepreneur. Like you are starting your business, you're going to pay taxes as a business, or as a you can pay it as an individual, but like it is the way that you see, the way that you do your taxes, especially in the US, it is as a business. So that's the way that I see it. But my niche is self-care and wellness.
Yeah, agreed. I think at the root of me, I'm an entrepreneur, and my content is very much niche into social media. There is so much advice out there that I feel like it kind of jumbles even my head, and I'm in this industry. So at the root of my content is just very value-based, very education-based, very fact-based content. And my goal is just to, at the end of the day, state facts, come from a place of experience, come from a place of expertise, and help people either grow their content or help social media managers really get into this business and become a 6-figure social media manager. So I kind of talk to both realms.
I would consider myself as an entrepreneur more than content creator. I would say most of my clients come to me by like being fearful of like posting even content on LinkedIn. So I'll say myself as an entrepreneur, I think I resonate a lot with what Isabelle is saying. If we're paying tax, that we're sort of like juggling between like entrepreneur as a creator as well, right? As a creator, you need to make a living, and then you ultimately basically like get sponsorship from different brands, sign contracts. And then from the other hand, it is really important to know that, like where you stand when it comes to like creating content? What are some of the buckets that you're sharing? So for my niches is mainly about personal branding and content marketing and using the power of LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and you're right. There is like so many tips and like knowledge about like social media out there. There's just like always something new to learn, especially like with Planoly. They kind of share some of those tips too. So we'll kind of dive into a little bit of the report and some of the trends that we did mention. So participating, we said that participating in a viral trend is fun every once in a while, but it doesn't need to be like your entire content strategy. We mentioned that 56.9% of the users said going viral isn't their top priority. So are there any, what are some content strategy tips that you recommend for creating more authentic, niche, and consistent content?
That's a great idea, and understanding that authentic, niched, and consistent content, sometimes it can feel like you are in a battle because the things that feel authentic to you are not the things that are trending, and then you ended up not being consistent. It can be like a little of a hamster wheel. But I think that the first thing, and I'm sure Julia can speak way more in depth about this, but I think is be very honest with yourself in what season you are in your creator journey. Are you just starting out? Are you a creator that you had some success and now you want to expand? Are you in a point that, no, I'm actually very big and now I want to go to offline influence and maybe sign with a big talent agency and all of that? So I think that the first thing is to ask yourself and understand where you are in your creator journey and make a list of content that you would love to do, another list of content that is trendy or going viral, and then trying to create a balance between the two when you're creating basically planning for your week and for your month. And a tip that works for me a lot, and I know people have different personalities, but for me, when I do less and I stay simple, so posting 3 to 4 times a week instead of posting every day or 2 times a day, I am able to stay consistent for longer and not like burn out in 2 months. So that's for me, but I'm very curious to hear what the other panelists have to say.
Yeah, I actually love this one because something I will never say is, you need to go viral or preach viral content in your content strategy. I just don't think that that's sustainable. And I actually think that there can be a lot of downsides on just focusing on going viral. So my advice would be to focus on creating content that people don't just want to watch in a moment, and create the content that makes them want to come back for more and more. So at the root of that is valuable content that makes other people feel good, content that makes people want to save it and watch it later. And just being able to be that person where, if you are posting consistently and you're posting really good content, people are going to want to come back to you and be like, okay, I know that, Julia's posting content that is going to make me feel like I can do this. I can grow on social media. Or Isabelle's posting content that makes me feel like, okay, I feel like it's a safe space to talk about things. And like, I know that she's going to be providing content that makes me feel good. It's just really about what is going to make people want to come back and not just watch your video once and then kind of forget about you, which is oftentimes what happens with viral content. So, I think that the idea of viral content kind of needs to be tossed. If it happens, amazing. And if it doesn't, it's really not the end of the world.
I love what Julia is chiming in when it comes to like the goals and the heart of why you're creating content, right? And what content that will stick with your audience. One of the things that I think I wouldn't say is my advice. I felt like everyone can create very authentic content because it's your own, right? And I would start with honing in with your content specialties, whether it's to show up like creating video content. If you're more like a public speaker, if you're more like a writer, you can do something more like article pieces, blog. If you're someone that it's like a designer, I know a lot of people that are very successful just creating like infographics. So really hone into your specialties. That is one of the number one tip I have for people when it comes to like creating content that is consistent. When it comes to authenticity, I think it's the greatest currency when it comes to online. And I would go with your story because your story, you are the perfect person to tell your own story. And when it comes to like, I like what Julia is saying earlier, is like, how do you resonate and get your content really sticky and come across that people want to follow you more and watch and consume and like support you at the same time is about relevancy. It's about how you resonate with other people, and your story is super unique and very true to you, and that it's how you can come across really authentic online on social media through content.
Yeah, that's like really good, insight. And I think, virality and like going viral shouldn't be everything. I think that was preached like a few years ago, but now it's kind of like getting out and like building that brand that makes people want to keep coming back and like look for you and search you and like look what you're saying. So really good feedback and answers. Want to take it to another trend that we kind of talked about. What are your thoughts on AI when it comes to social media? Have you tried it for yourself? I know some of you guys use Planoly. Have you tried Planoly's AI caption writer? And what do you guys kind of think about it?
I love AI like so much. And actually, kudos to Planoly, because me and my social media manager, we were playing around with, the tags and the personas that you guys created. And we were literally like, this is amazing. So if you are watching this, and give it a try, because the caption writing in Planoly is just so fun. And the thing with AI is understanding that is a great place to get started. Is a great place to bounce ideas off. Is a great place to maybe open up your eyes for things that you haven't seen before, and to optimize work that it might be a little boring. From simple things like, when I have all my tags for my blog posts, I need to separate my tags with like commas. I hate doing that. It takes me like 5 minutes. I just put it in ChatGPT and it does for me in a few seconds. Great. It saved me some time. But at the same time, it can help us to start off sometimes when we have, just a creativity block and you don't know where to start. Is a great place, like your little assistant or your little copywriter friend. So don't think like you're going to do everything and AI is going to do the work for you and your content is going to be copy and paste, because it shows when there is no human. But if you see it as an assistant, someone to bounce ideas off, like literally your partner in starting out creation and maybe polishing off a few edges, I think that it can save you a lot of time and give you a lot of new insight to look for things that you probably wouldn't look before.
That is exactly how I use Planoly and like the caption writer and AI in general. I think that for me specifically, I have clients who are celebrities and influencers. They have very specific voices. So I can't just rely on AI. And it's a little scary for me to rely on AI, I'm not gonna lie. But for me, it's like sometimes I'm not always on. And sometimes I feel like I'm human and I do hit a creative block. So when that happens, like it is nice to be able to go into Planoly and click that and be like, okay, it's a spark of an idea, or it maybe worded something in a way that I wasn't going to, or that it was just a better said or simplified way of saying what I was going to say. So I think that like it just gets your creative juices going. And I don't think that it should be in place of your words. I think everybody has a very specific voice, and I'm a big fan of that. I think, nothing ever is going to replace the human voice, and nothing ever is going to be able to take over your brand or your client's brand. And I don't think it should, to be honest. I think Planoly Caption Writer is amazing, but I don't think that that should be like the end all be all. I think it really should be able to be like your best friend and like the thing that helps you get through, when you're having those like hard moments or when your creative juices aren't there that day. So that's kind of how I like to view it. And then if I do use it, I end up putting the final touches myself, but it's great.
I love it. I think like one of the things that both of you both share. It's like using AI as an assistant to really support how you're creating content and your content creation journey. And that's how I see AI as well. And I love using Planoly Caption Writer because I think one of the audience said like they have the different personas, which is why it helps you to analyze what's your tone of voice and help you sort of like devise how you want to like continue planning out your entire copy, which is really, really helpful. To me, having AI is incredible. Like, I don't know whether any of you have tried the very new function with ChatGPT. I don't know whether it's a premium version. You can upload a document right now. So I have a lot of clients that it's like representation deck, a lot of like B2B corporate decks and stuff. And most of the time when before AI, most of my team need to digest slide by slide by slide. Now we just upload it on ChatGPT, like give them, hey, give me a bullet point or just like 5 sentences of summarizing what exactly is that deck. And then we can just basically create sort of like a proposal or content pieces from that slide very easily. So I would use AI for the assistant for copywriting, just like the wonderful two ladies already said, the ideation part, as well as most important to me is research. Most people waste a lot of time when it comes to creating content is using research to back up using data when it comes to creating content. So I think research would save like half of the time when it comes to creating content.
Yeah, that's all. It's all really great feedback, and especially even as somebody who kind of helps kind of create our editorial calendar and newsletter, like it does, help come up with some blog ideas, like, for our audience and stuff like that. And then, fine tune them and use our like SEO and stuff like that. And, but it definitely is a place to kind of brainstorm and bounce ideas off of. So kind of echoing all of what you guys are saying. So speaking of trends, what are some social trends you see breaking through in 2024 that are, different from what I kind of mentioned in our report?
Yeah, I actually was just talking about this yesterday. I'm seeing a lot of reports, and I'm very happy about it, that 2024 will be the comeback year for blogs. And I think that a great reason for that, like blogs never went away, but people started putting more focus on, social platforms, and which is great. Like they're all important for to be a balanced creator. But I think that there is something in creators more and more to have agency for their content and being able to own the place, where their content is. And that's why now we are seeing a lot of newsletters and paid newsletters and blogs. And I think that is just this thing of like, okay, I love posting on social and it's very important, but how can I have more ownership of my content in a way that, if something happens and all of this goes away, somehow I still have my audience and I still have a place that I can build back up again. So I think that finding, and Patreon like is a way for that. Like there's so many ways that slowly this have been building up. But I think that in 2024, we're going to see this way more. And I think it's going to start with micro creators, and then it's going to go up to the like very, very huge creators. We have some big creators who are already in that, but I think that the micro and the medium creators are the ones who are going to like drive this forward. And I'm very excited to see what will come from it.
I love that because everything that's old is new again. That's always how it happens. It's always a cycle. I feel like the people who stuck with blogs are just going to be like cheering for that. This is my favorite question, I think, too, because I mean, there's so many. I'm going to ramble off the ones that I think are like the most important in terms of trends that are breaking through. Mainly YouTube. If you follow me, I talk about YouTube. Return of long form content, which also I've been talking about for like 5 or 6 months now, unfiltered and raw content. So like more of like peeling back the layers and not just showing the pretty and perfect and fluffy sides of yourselves. And on that note, even just like the unfollowing of influencers who post just that stuff. So, I think that's also a trend that we're seeing is like no more of the fluffy, pretty content. We want the real, raw, and like valuable stuff. De-influencing is a big trend in 2024. Going live on Instagram and TikTok is a massive trend on social media and something that you should be taking advantage of. TikTok stories. Sorry, I'm almost done. I'm just rambling off the ones that like come to my mind. But TikTok stories, they are my chef's kiss right now. They're my baby. If you're not doing TikTok stories, I don't know why you're not. And subliminal hooks instead of in your face marketing hooks. It's something that I love to talk about. Subliminal hooks is kind of like what I pride myself in, and like probably one of the first ones that I went viral on TikTok for just sharing some subliminal hooks. It's really just something where it's like it's so subtle, but it makes the biggest difference. So I think those are my top off the bat ones that I can think of.
No, don't worry about rambling at all. I'm like soak it all up because like if you're asking me about TikTok, I know nothing about it. Or even
Oh my
Instagram.
Tell
God.
us everything. We want to know.
I'm
These
the
guys
drama.
start posting TikTok stories. You got to go live. You got to take advantage of all their features over there. I just see someone in the comments saying, I started following you from subliminal hooks. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, and also like adding the value piece to me is like really, really huge. Like not just talking about you and you and you all the time. I think that's really, really big. I see the blogs trend still like obviously coming back in 2024. On LinkedIn, what I see is really interesting. The LinkedIn newsletter as well as the LinkedIn articles. Maybe for some of the audience don't even have LinkedIn, they're like, please shut up. But what I think like LinkedIn is really interesting is that it works very similar to your website SEO blog that would stick on it for a long, long time, which means like what Julia is saying earlier, that YouTube long form content will be there for the longest time, right? And you can continue being picked up. To me, is like LinkedIn article as well, LinkedIn newsletter, but with a touch of adding your podcast or video, which means it could be what you're repurposing your website blog to a LinkedIn article, to a LinkedIn newsletter, or use that as a podcast script or use it as a YouTube script. And I see that too more and more, not just content creator, but busy entrepreneur using that, because what I love to say is 75% of your follower didn't see your content. 80% of your follower won't even remember your posts. 100% of your new follower never saw it. So my question is, why not repurpose your content? Like use those big block content to a smaller block content. And I see that trend going more and more by just extracting small or big block content to multiple different channels, multiple different touch points. The other big trends that I really love seeing, and I've been trying to do it more myself, is collaboration. You will see like Instagram doing all these like collaboration. I don't even know what is it called. Like, guys, please help me. Like with a video where I can collaborate, let's say with Isabelle or like with Julia, with when it comes to like a reel together. I see that trend more and more, and I see a lot of big creator, not just like micro creator, big creator like Neil Patel. It's like going off his show, asking multiple different creators to join his show, or like Alix Earle, which is another big creator on entrepreneur, has been doing a lot of collaboration, which they don't need, but I see that happen all the time. And those sphere of audience are now really touching the edges with each other, and I'm all for it.
Well, yeah, these are some, I've especially noticed a few of these as well. So it's cool to hear you guys kind of talk about them and also see what you have been identifying as well. And I kind of like you guys talking about, you know, like some older forms of content kind of coming back, and just like creators kind of picking like what they want to post, rather than like the platforms kind of telling you what to post. It's not so much about like one form of content. It's there's more breadth now, I think, which is really exciting and adds for some variety on the platforms. I'll take it to the next question. What are some brands and creators you look up to that are doing it well when it comes to their content? If you have any that kind of come to mind.
I have a very dear friend of mine that I always say to her that I look before I start doing any content research to see what she's doing, because she is amazing. Her name is Jessica. It's at Traveling with Jessica on TikTok and Instagram, and she got to work with incredible brands like Disney, Havaianas, Kate Spade, Pinterest as well. And she is an incredible creator that I look up to because she is have amazing content. She's super consistent with her content. She is in the blog, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and Instagram, and she does very good in integrating all the things. But she's one of the best creators I've ever seen on creating boundaries with the audience and with her own mental health. The pace that she shares things, the way that she shares things, is just such literally like I take notes, and it's so fantastic the way that she does it. And I really am able to see in action what having healthy boundaries with your audience. It's what I love. And I'm gonna put her Instagram here is Traveling with Jessica, and you can double check. She is a dear friend and one of my greatest inspirations and who I look up to.
I love that you're just pimping out your friend. I just absolutely love the female support because I'm not going to say a friend. I'm just going to say someone who I think is a general great person to look up to right now, at least. And I honestly, I hope that this doesn't sound basic, but I do think Paige Lorenz is doing a incredible job of really just taking her audience along into her life, into her business, into just all of the personal aspects of herself. And it's like they're creating the business with her. And I think she's done a great job because, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, she started Dairy Boy, which was kind of like a ground up business. It got a lot of really negative reviews, like the quality was really bad, and she got a lot of hate for that. And she's completely 180 turned that around, took everybody in her audience into account, which I think is a really important thing to do and so completely underrated when it comes to content. And I think she really just kind of put herself at the forefront of like, okay, well, I didn't really know how big this was going to be. It blew up. I take full accountability for the fact that the quality was bad. And now she just flipped the switch, really just took everybody along with this journey with her. And I think that, you know, at the very core of everything is your audience and is your community. I say this on my TikTok, but you are absolutely nothing without a community. And I think she's someone who knows that and can recognize that because she reposts people's stories. She's constantly commenting back. She's constantly reposting people who are watching her vlogs religiously. Like you can see she's answering DMs. She posts, stories of that. Those are all moments that I, as a social media manager, can appreciate because that is at the core of it, community building. And that is a focus that I think everybody, big and small creators, should have. So I think she's a great person to look up to in that space. There are so many others, but she's the first one that came to my mind.
Absolutely love that, guys. Mine will be Shannon. I think hers is a little bit smaller. I will drop her links over here. She's with the So Bungalow. She talk a lot about like content creation, talk a lot about like social media growth. But one of the things that really stuck with me with her brand is some of the topic we talk about today about like being authentically herself, like really the community building part. I think Instagram have this amazing feature now. I think it's opening like sort of like a separate group, like a community channel. And I never see anyone could run as successful as her group. And there's like a lot of interaction. And what I think is really interesting about her brand is like she's still focusing a lot in monetization with her audience, but in a very smart way. And I like seeing like girls absolutely crushing it on social media. At the same time, it's like, building wealth thanks to their power of expertise. To me, she's like really doing that. And recently she's like doing this trend, is it the errors tool for that it's like trending right now, and she's on it and do some sort of like really interesting sort of Instagram story, tie it back to her offer, and to basically like share how she can relate to that trend, at the same time helping her audience for some plug and play sort of content tips that they can use and win it on multiple different social media as well. So that would be my pick. Yeah, or drop her handle for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I think we have time for one more question before we move into the live Q&A, but I think it'd be great to like wrap up the panel with what is your main focus for your own personal and business goals this year?
I think that for me, look, oh my gosh, my headphones are driving away. For me, last year was a very emotional year around social media. And I don't know if any other creators felt that way, that if you ever caught yourself crying over Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and you're like, why am I giving so much power to those things? So I think that this year I'm focusing a lot on my mental health and creating content that brings me joy and that literally just take my business to another level and my income to another level, even if those are numbers that nobody's seeing but me. And that's a very fun and interesting thing when you're running a blog, that you're seeing how many views you're having and how your affiliate marketing is converting, but nobody else but you sees. And it's a very interesting game to play. So that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on writing and on my blog and on finding joy on social media instead of letting social media make me feel bad about myself. So that's my goal this year.
Yeah, no letting social media run anybody's life. I mean, I see it too much, so no. No to that. I love that. I think everybody should implement that. But for me personally, I'm kind of out of my element. I've kind of gotten out of my element last year is when I started putting myself out there on TikTok, and after 7 years of kind of being behind the scenes, it's uncomfortable to be on the very other side of the camera. So this is the year where I settle into that and I kind of own that and let myself be more of that. So I'm starting to take my Instagram more seriously, my YouTube, my Pinterest. Thank God for Planoly, because I would never post to YouTube or Pinterest had it not been for Planoly. So needed that. Last year, I came out with a social media management course. This year, I dropped a content course, and I plan on doing a lot more of those, which it's just like brings me so much joy because of the community that's in there. So that's kind of the way I want to go. And then also with my own social media management business, I have so many clients at this point that want to come on board. And so a big goal of mine is to kind of scale my business. I just hired my very first social media like manager to help me with my clients. So I'm really excited about that. And the cherry on the top was that she is from my social media course. Like she was like one of the first people in there. So it was kind of like, it warmed my heart. But yeah, a lot more of that, a lot more of stepping into social media on my own and growing my businesses and doing courses.
I love it. Full circle. Talking about full circle, right? Definitely with all of you on like giving too much power on social media. To me, it's like always a tool to support us. Since this like my business is really my business baby when it comes to building wealth, I would say this year, I think not just giving too much power on social media, but more like really recognizing what is working for me previously might not work for me this year. I really want to like take a deep look into like my entire content strategies, my team, whether it's like growing, and really look at my own pace and not compare myself with somebody's chapter 10. Sometimes I felt like I'm always like trying to perfect everything, even not just from posting, from perfecting my courses, my program, from all the way to like client success. I want to like really recognize that and start prioritizing my relationship with not just my family, my friends, like really taking full control of my time. I think that is one of the things that I want to always be conscious of and transparent with those that I love, and always prioritizing them first.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I'm really excited for everything this year for you guys, and hope you're able to accomplish everything. But this was such a great conversation. Lots of good insight and feedback and just education, just lots to learn from. So we're going to head into our live Q&A. Rez is going to join us. I know that there are a lot of questions that you guys asked. So let's start with that.
Yeah, nice to meet y'all. I'm the brand marketing manager at Planoly, and yeah, I wanted to kind of help rapid fire this section. So thank you everyone for joining. Just a reminder, we do have a code, Creator Clubhouse, for 30% off on all annual subscriptions, and you can try us out for free for 7 days. Cool, we're gonna just go rapid fire. So we're gonna have Julia, maybe if you can share some advice on finding a social media job in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not anybody who doesn't need social media at this point. If you're a business, you're a brand owner, even if you're, just starting off. So kind of using social media to get a social media job is the best way to do it. I am a firm believer that cold emails and cold DMs are not dead. And I have a few scripts that I put on my TikTok that are really helpful, but keeping it very short and sweet and to the point. The best way that I think you can find a social media job is kind of by going value first. So like, what can I bring to you? How can I help you and your business? How can I bring more revenue to your business? Because social media managers, the best part about your job is that you can actually bring them in more money. You can be a revenue driver instead of revenue depleter, which is what a lot of jobs are. If you're a hiring assistant, yes, that's delegating tasks, but they're not bringing in more opportunity typically. So you have that as kind of like a selling point. So take that and run with it. I give a lot of tips on that. And I also try to help matchmake. So you can use me and try to find jobs for me. I have a lot of clients and a lot of social media managers in my community. So I do this thing every Friday where I try to matchmake. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of ways, but definitely cold DMing and cold emailing are not dead whatsoever. And I'm sure Selena can talk about LinkedIn for social media. Yeah.
I think we have some LinkedIn questions in here, so I'll definitely
Okay,
let
good.
you Selena answer that. But thank you so much
Learning
for
so much
sharing.
about TikTok as well as like Instagram from you guys. So I'm the one that gaining from the other end.
I love that.
For anyone that wants to, maybe Isabelle can start this off. Do you guys film in app or on your phone camera? And how does this affect the performance?
I think it depends on what you're doing. Like if I just finished a campaign for Kate Spade that I really needed to be an excellent, absolutely amazing quality. And so I filmed on my phone because it needed to approval and everything. And then when it's something really on the go, I just film it on the app and I live in my drafts. I save to my phone just to be sure in case, something happened with the app so I don't lose. I've never found like something that the performance shifted like drastically if I'm on the app or on the phone. But maybe Julia can talk a little bit more about it. And Selena, I love LinkedIn. My best friend is one of the top voices. So you're here and I feel like he's here with me. So any questions about LinkedIn, I will sit in and love to hear about it.
I'll piggyback off of that just because there are a few things that do matter when it comes to filming. And I get that it might be a little bit annoying to have to film in app. Obviously, the apps prefer that. They do. They're not going to discount you if you don't. But if you're filming outside of apps, make sure that you're at least using the text native to each app. So like if you are filming something, you have something edited, upload it and add the auto-generated closed captions, or add any text, anything that's like going to be popped up in the specific app. So if you're uploading something to TikTok, use TikTok related text, related captions, all of that. Same thing with Instagram because they do detect that in the algorithm. That is the only thing that's going to hold you back if you do use outside of app filming.
My answer is really short. On LinkedIn, there's not even an app for you to create video. So like whatever you have on your Instagram, just repurpose that amazing content on LinkedIn. Like to me, LinkedIn is the easiest way to grow because there's only less than 9% of people is creating on content on that powerful platform. So to me, it's easy.
And also the easiest way to become a authority on your niche because there might not be a lot of people talking about what you talk about inside LinkedIn. So it's such a powerful tool.
Yes, top voice. Let's get that top voice back.
Yes.
Amazing. So we have a few questions around this. So we're going to combine it and I'll make sure it gets answered live. People are wondering, how do they get out of that 200 likes jail? Like they're putting so much energy, they're not getting enough ignition, engagement. So what can they do to basically make sure that they're like getting somewhere that they believe, like how much they put their time and, you know, energy into their work and seeing the results essentially?
I just want to preface this by saying that if you are in 200 view jail or 300 view jail, I want to flip the switch a little bit and change your perspective of thinking if you were speaking in front of 200 people or speaking in front of 300 people, that would be a lot of people. And, you know, you might be a little nervous. So I feel like 200 people and 300 people is a blessing in disguise. And it's something is better than nothing. So try and change your perspective a little bit. Give, you know, all that you can to those 200 and 300 people because they are there and they are watching. So, and then the other things I would do if you are in view jail, it could be a very big thing if you're not doing SEO, you might need to sit back and think, okay, is my lighting good? Am I in good lighting? Am I filming in a very dark space? That kind of content is content that people scroll past. And then you might want to get really real with yourself and ask, like, am I providing good content? Is this content that I would stop my scroll for? You know, sometimes you have to take off the creator hat and put on the consumer hat and be like, let me just get really real and sit here and think. The other thing is like going back to SEO really quickly. When I talk about SEO, I'm mainly talking about four things. I'm talking about keywords in your videos, the text on screen. I'm talking about keywords in your captions. I'm talking about, you know, 1 to 2 hashtags. And then also I'm talking about auto-generated closed captions. 92% of people watch videos on mute. So if you are talking to the camera and you don't have those closed captions underneath, someone's scrolling. So these are things that can make all the difference. And it's almost at a point where you just need to understand consumer behavior and understand what's missing from there. Because to me, that signals that something is missing and you need to just find that missing piece. And sometimes it's just a consistency game. Sometimes it's just a game of consistency. And like, you need to be like, okay, you know, I'm in 200, 300 jail because I'm actually not being consistent. And my audience has no idea when I'm going to be posting or what I'm going to be posting. And that is diminishing your growth. So it's a consistency thing. It could be you're not using the features that I've, you know, talked about, Instagram Live, TikTok stories, all the things. So there's a lot of things, but just kind of like be playing detective for a second and kind of like taking a step back and getting real with yourself.
I love that. Does anyone else have anything to add to that? Maybe we have time for one more live question. Oh, perfect. I think this one's really beneficial. They're asking, how do brands work with influencers and creators in 2024 to drive engagement? So I'm sure all of you guys work with brands. So I think this is a good question for everyone. So maybe we can have Selena start off this one.
Yeah, I can speak around LinkedIn. To me, like LinkedIn, I think I share the stats. There's very little competition. For you to dominate the newsfeed is extremely easy. And to Isabel's point earlier, it's like if you want to be the go-to person in that space, be the thought leader, or even get a top voice badge, it's kind of like very plain and easy on LinkedIn because the competition is really low. And most of these like corporate people have like, I like that you guys are talking about like 200 and 300 jail. Like these people are not even creating or posting content on LinkedIn. It's always in the draft. And that's the number one thing I talk about most of the time. So I would start with that. And once you start doing this, you will really start getting a sticky audience when it comes to that very niche topic. So specifically, I talk about LinkedIn marketing, how to grow on LinkedIn. Most of my clients talk about executive leadership. They talk about like maybe law firms, how to basically grow a very successful team, high performing team. So all these little buckets, those are the ones that you can start reaching out to brands that is looking maybe a SaaS tool like Planoly, or maybe a tool that could help their life getting better. It could be an AI tool that it's now trending, and go back to it and share with them how you can add value to them from the outreach perspective, like what Julia is saying. But if you're more like, oh, you know what, I'm more like an inbound type of girl, I don't want to necessarily reach out to brands, what you can do is like showcase your portfolio on LinkedIn, let people know what you're talking about. You're the go-to person when it comes to that. And when someone is like really DMing you, become that very easy to the point person when it comes to how to actually work with you. Tell them, hey, this is my rate card. This is how you're going to work with my team. I can, turn around very quickly for 4 weeks. And that's what a brand manager or someone will, agree to work with you or not. So I will start with there.
I love that.
That's very good. I don't know if I have time to add something very, very quick. Is a advice that someone gave it to me and it was life-changing. That is, you never know who is watching. So when you are posting your stories or you're posting, whatever platform it is, and you are talking about product that you are using in your everyday life, how would you talk about the product if you were in a brand deal with them? Because not only that brand could be seeing, but other brands, other brand managers, other people who work in agencies, they might be on the lookout. And then they look at your content and it was like, oh, this person knows how to talk about product. They know how to make it organic. So I already go with the mindset of, if I am an influencer and people will listen to what I have to say, how would I talk about this product? Because you really never know who is watching, and your next big opportunity can be just around the corner, about to hit like on your content, and you have no idea that that's going to be where the door is going to open from.
Amazing. I know we're at time, so thank you to the speakers for your time and sharing your insight, and apologies to the attendees and guests for not getting to all your questions, but feel free to check Planoly out, all of their socials. I'm sure they have all these amazing recs somewhere, and just do the research, and we're here to help you along the way. Planoly has great resources on our blogs, our newsletters, and in our platform as well. And I want to thank Carrie because she was the one that helped lead and put together this amazing report. So I'll let her end it on behalf of the amazing speakers here.
Yeah, thank you so much for everyone for joining. This was such an exciting conversation and just lots of insight for this coming year. So everyone get it, achieve your goals. I'm really excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. So great.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you, Carrie, and everyone.
Yeah. Thank you for putting this together, ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So much fun.